Oh, the weather outside is frightful.
But inside is so delightful.
It's Christmas in July.
Let's review.
Let's review
Let's review.
You
And me.
Season
3.
Bum.
Yes, that's right, folks. We're back for a special 4th of July edition of Christmas in July. Yeah. Got my prop. Oh, yeah. So, Dragon, we are celebrating something all-American. We are celebrating Superman, but in the great tradition of Christmas in July, we did not pick the most conventional version of Superman to talk about. We talked about the version of Superman that basically turns the whole thing into a damn romantic comedy. But you know what? I love it. And speaking of things that are all-American, Blue Dragon 5, you know what else is all-American? Like, more American than eating apple pie. I'm just going to say it, just more American than eating apple pie.
What?
Listening to the Movie Machine podcast. That's right, folks. Just screw fireworks. Screw fireworks. For your 4th of July, head on down to hotchocolatemedia.net and listen to the Movie Machine podcast. It's what happens when you take 4 funny people and improv a movie based on a random story generator really, really fast. It includes talented folks such as Kyle Decker, Jacob Gulliver, Ben Lifson, the awesomely named Max Savage, and a host of others, a rotating panel of guests on hotchocolatemedia.net. It is so all-American, it's not even funny. All right. I think I'm getting really good at that pitch, Dragon. I think I've got it down really good. So Lois and Clark, Dragon. Lois and Clark. This is an unconventional pick. What prompted you to pick this particular episode?
Well, we usually on Christmas in July we like to have some superhero picks, and let's face it. Before getting into the CW shows, it's kind of slim pickings, and this is kind of we have a few steps left before we're going into the CW territory. Not you get nothing wrong with the CW territory. It's just like that's every
oh boy, we're going into the adult section of a video store. Ooh, the CW territory.
I say it because we run the risk of you are very behind on your CW shows. Let's say that much.
As in, I have not seen a single minute of any CW show. So yeah.
So yeah, we'll pretty much we'll be diving in for you. Diving in blind when we get to those. That's why we're starving those off until the end. So that's when you'll know we're running low on our superhero shows.
That's when you know like the end is nigh for this podcast. It's time to panic.
Basically, when we reach the Christmas in July, where all of our picks regarding superheroes are kind of speculatory. That's when we're going to completely have superheroes.
Okay, but this is a very inspired superhero pick, Dragon, because this show kind of came out of nowhere for you to suggest it. But I'm like, this is actually one of my favorite episodes that we reviewed in the 3 seasons of Christmas in July.
Well, let me explain why.
I love this special. This is such a good pick.
Well, let me explain briefly just why out of all the Lois and Clark Christmas specials I picked this one, because I think there are 2, maybe 3 Christmas specials for Lois and Clark. I know. Can
you also just explain, kind of give a brief rundown of the series, because I don't even know that much about it.
The premise is simple. I mean, again, I haven't watched it all the way through or anything, but I mean, I know the premise. I've seen a few episodes. It's okay. I prefer the Superboy series better from what I have seen of that. Point is, Lois and Clark. It was a gimmick show back in the 90s. I believe it ran for 4 seasons, ended in 97, I think. This is in the last season. This is in season 4, so this is like kind of in the end. So basically, it's a show that kind of prolongs Lois and Clark eventually getting married, and this was timed around the death of Superman, which is why they had this.
Right.
Which is why they stretched it out for 4 seasons. Otherwise, they would have married him off a lot quicker, because they wanted to kill Superman before the wedding or something. It was oh god. So yeah, that's essentially why the running gag in the show, Tiki, was that they were engaged. First season, just they're romantically getting to know each other. Second season, from what I just reading the synopses. Again, I haven't watched it all the way through. I understand there's a lot of kind of like conveniencies of like why they're not getting married.
Sure, I could totally see that. Absolutely,
that's just how it reads. I can't attest to that. I haven't watched it all the way through the episodes or anything. That's all I'm saying is that it reads like there are a lot of contrivances. That's what I'm looking for. A lot of contrivances for why like Lois doesn't find out he's Clark immediately, and why they're. And again, like why over time it's like they're stretching out the marriage, like they're engaged for a few seasons.
Gotcha.
Anyway, so this season, like, they were really engaged, and I forget if this at this point in the series, because this is like a midway through, is this episode 11 of season 4. They may or may not be married because they make reference to, like, you know, your wife here, whether Perry White means future wife or not. That's the only thing we really could. I think the rest of it kind of stands well on its own. Like, you don't need to know the series for this episode.
And also, it just kind of benefits that we already know all of the Superman characters. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, they're all perpetually either engaged or married in this show. This
right.
It's always like,
you know, like we've got like the Jimmy Olsen, we've got the Perry White, we've got Ma and Pa Kent. It's like we already know all of the side characters. It's like, even without watching the show, I already totally know who these people are.
And the only thing I should really kind of briefly on is say, you know, is like, you know, the famous thing about the show, the reason why it's kind of talked about and still kind of vaguely remembered, is because of the you know, Lois and Clark themselves. And Dean Cain is Superman, and Teri Hatcher is Lois Lane.
Mm.
And Teri Hatcher, for the longest time, I don't know, even to this day, maybe she's kind of the definitive Lois Lane to a lot of people.
I can see that. I actually have vague memories of watching the show with my mom and just kind of being like, you know, like, obviously this show is just a lot of just like relationship stuff, and then like there might be like maybe 5 to 7 minutes of Superman stuff in each episode. But I remember like watching it with my mom and like being really bored with the you know, with the talking bits, but then getting excited when the Superman stuff happened. But Teri Hatcher, I gotta give it up to Teri Hatcher, man. She is like, Desperate Housewives had a good run for about 4 or 5 seasons before it went off the rails, and Teri Hatcher kills it on Desperate Housewives, so that's how I had a familiarity with her. So I was pleased to see her in this. I honestly didn't even know she was in this, so that just goes to show you how little I know. But go ahead.
And Dean Cain also, he's no slouch either. He was a very decent Superman. He's a unique Superman. That's the thing. It's like, I love. You know, it's, again, I haven't really been able to sit down with it for a while to kind of watch it all the way to the end, because it doesn't really rerun anymore from what I've seen. But again, this episode all the way through, it's not your average Superman. You know, he's a real soft-spoken kind of guy, and I think he has I love him when he's as Superman, kind of talking to people, talking them down from stuff. I love that. And as Clark Kent, I guess if I were with the show longer, I would have more reverence for this Clark Kent. It's a good take on. I'm not fully sold on this Clark Kent, because I just want to know like more of this courtship sort of, like, how is it, you know, his relationship. Basically, the last thing I'll say, this is the only thing you need to know about the show. The only thing is that the show is kind of marketed on, this is a Superman where, you know, Clark Kent, Superman is Clark Kent. It's not the other way around. Like Superman putting on the guise of Clark Kent. It's like, at his core, he is Clark Kent, and Superman is the mask. That's the idea of the show.
Right.
Yeah, because you get the no Clark Kent falling in love with Lois Lane. It's the whole show. Anyway, so yeah, this one is about Mxy-Mas. And I picked this one because I haven't seen this one. It always stuck out to me that Howie Mandell once played Mxy-Mas, and I love the Mxy-Mas episode from Superman the Animated Series, which Paul Dini wrote, which is fantastic. And that show really kind of had these great Silver Age homages to Superman and Mxy-Mas, which, correct me if I'm wrong, you didn't know he was a real Superman character.
No. When you mentioned, he's like this big Superman, I was actually really surprised, because as soon as Howie Mandel popped up, I was like, oh my god, this is like the most priceless, like, you know, cartoony villain that they created for his Christmas special. Like, I totally thought he was made up.
Oh yeah, Mixie's a big character from the Silver Age.
I can totally see the Silver Age influence. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, because basically Superman's big vulnerability, he has 3 main vulnerabilities. You know, you got kryptonite, you got red sunlight, and you have magic, and Mxy-Mas all magic. He's a leprechaun, essentially.
Right.
Basically, Superman goes up against, he's a 5th-dimensional imp, but essentially he's like the leprechaun, is what he is.
Mm-hmm.
So essentially, and this guy's kind of he's always kind of the fun comedic runner. He's appeared in a few other shows, but best appearances, and he's voiced by Gilbert Gottfried in Superman animated series.
Oh no!
Which is why I was really hoping you would have watched it.
Yeah, I probably, you know what, if you would have mentioned that, I probably would have taken the time, because you said it wasn't essential. It wasn't.
Again, you don't need to see it to understand this.
But now that you mentioned the Gilbert Gottfried thing, I kind of feel like it was essential. I kind of feel like I'm missing out by not having.
Again, so basically, Mxy-Mas, for anyone out there, before we get into it, and I swear to you, is that episode just kind of Mxy one.
If you're seeing this, I've been bidding faux show.
And basically, that episode of Superman is basically, it's Mxy-Mas 101. It's like everything you need to know. And this show gets pretty close. I mean, it adapts Mxy-Mas as well as you can expect. Again, making him a full-bodied guy. So I was impressed by This is the first time I've ever seen this episode. Talking about it today, and I was impressed by how on the money they were with a lot of Mxy-Mas stuff. So let's get into it. So
yeah, and I think just between you and me, I think we can both agree that having not seen any of the show, I think this episode holds up incredibly well just for someone going into it blind. But like I said, I think a big part of that is just the fact that we already know all these characters. So anyways.
Okay, let's see. So we start the episode with Lois and Clark. They're walking. They're having a little walk and talk in the city, and I think this show has just first impressions here. It has like a good sense of kind of dialogue, like kind of real couples kind of conversations here. It shows them as kind of.
It feels so very 90s though, and I say that in like the most endearing kind of way.
I mean, as much as I do, as much as we will praise this episode. I mean, there are some really cheesy '90s effects.
Oh God, yes.
Yeah, which is unfortunate, but let's see. So, I mean, I honestly,
chocolates in the shape of professional basketball players, probably Michael Jordan, because Michael Jordan was big at the time.
Like honestly, Superboy, the show had better effects, and that was in the '80s, I believe.
Oh God. Okay.
So let's see. So Lois and Clark, they're walking, and they're kind of going over designated gifts for friends and family. Again, they feel like such kind of a tight-knit unit. I feel like they're now at this point of kind of closeness where it's not like, oh, well, Small will try to keep up with me. It's not that anymore. It's like, they really gotten to know each other. They're really kind of they know each other's idiosyncrasies almost.
Sure.
So they're going over. They feel really domestic. I love this kind of domestic Lois and Clark. It's like no more kind of the run around, but still like that spark is still there when it needs to be. Anyway, so they're walking. So then, okay, they're going over gifts for friends and family. Lois. This is where I think the crux of the whole special is in the beginning. I think it's so well laid out, Tiki. Very consistent with Lois and Clark traditionally, and it's really well done here. Is that Lois views Christmas as a chore, and Clark assures you, look, Lois, everything's going to be fine. She's worried about having a Christmas party and doing all this stuff. And again, whether it's because they're married or just like they're still engaged, and they have the point is they have a new apartment, and whether it's as a married couple or as like kind of an engaged couple.
We don't know, folks. We don't know.
It's the only because they dragged out the marriage so long. It's the only reason.
Exactly.
I forget if like the ending of season 4 was them getting married or if it was at the beginning of 4. That's what I can't remember. Because they did all this convoluted. I remember there was a lot of convoluted honeymoon stuff. That's what
was it like Minnie, Ross, and Rachel?
I'm saying it was a lot. I'm saying they Tiki. If I told you the lengths of which they kept these two apart from getting married,
I could believe it.
Anyway, sorry. So the point is, here's where the crux.
I hope that Ralph is a previous love interest of Lois's. I love you guys the most. I hope that guy was one of Lois's previous love interests.
Tiki, camera went off.
Oh, did it? Okay, I'll fix that.
Anyway, so here's the crux, I suppose, my favorite part of it. So stemming from kind of that thing when Lois is kind of panicking around the holidays, he's just stressed out about Clark. He's like, oh, look, Lois, everything's fine. Here's the crux, though. I love that thematically. The whole special is kind of built around Lois's cynicism, which, Lois, and we know her for. That's why she's, at the very beginning, Superman's going around and says, this guy can't be for real until she interviews him and she falls in love with him. It's Lois is kind of cynical around the holidays versus Clark's optimism about the holidays. And I just love that the whole special's really about that. And again, Clark bringing the hope, and they actually made the hope thing work, really.
It works really well for the Superman character, and I also think it holds up really well, in today's day and age of like the whole fucking like, oh, it's the day after Thanksgiving, fucking Black Friday, let's all as a culture go out and kill ourselves for deals, you know what I mean?
And again, Tiki, seriously, this beginning is such great setup for the whole special. And I love how it comes full circle. It's like kind of through the whole lifeblood of this episode. It's that Lois is coming from a cynical point of view, and the whole thing is about hope versus cynicism. That's what this whole special is about. It's kind of being outlined by two protagonists here, which we do like, Lois and Clark. And Lois saying, commercial. It's all she sees is commercialism. Again, I love that we're at a point in Lois's development where it's like she's not just like, no, nothing's going to change her mind. She's like saying, she genuinely says, I wish I could see it through your eyes, Clark, but I can't. All she sees left and right, because, it's the cynical reporter in her heart is like, I see commercialism. I see like money grabs. And he says, I see magic. And again, magic being the key word given Mxy-Mas.
Oh yeah.
Again, great setup of Superman using the exact term magic. And
Lois, are you confusing? Or no, Lois is like, am I confusing the 12 days of Christmas with the 7 deadly sins?
And again, it's like that fact that she wants that optimistic viewpoint. Just it's kind of hard for her around the holidays. And he hopes that she can see that, and then she on the other side of that too. She longs for it, just to be like them, just be like him. So let's see. So Clark and before they kind of seal it with a kiss, I guess Clark heads out. Here's fire trucks off in the distance. Here's a fire alarm going off, so he's off. And Lois, meanwhile, again, so Clark has left her yet again. It's kind of a running gag.
I kind of like how this show's idea of an action scene is Clark running off, and then we see a clip of the newspaper afterwards.
I get a sense Kevin Smith would have loved to direct this show.
Yeah, totally.
Well, he would have done great with it, though. I mean, seriously, he writes good.
Smith should do a reboot of this show.
Well, he is getting the TV now. He's rebooting another show right now.
I know. He's doing Buckaroo Banzai. Yeah.
And Mallrats is a TV show.
Oh, I didn't know that. Is there no Mallrats 2 now? Is it just
no? Mallrats 2 is like a Netflix. It's not going to be. I don't know if it's going to be on Netflix. It's going to be a miniseries of some kind.
Interesting. Okay. Anyways.
Point is, regardless though, again, I love it. It's kind of. You're right though, Tiki. It's kind of like more kind of dialogue and emotion based over kind of your big spectacle.
I mean, it's just like it just kind of cracks me up. Like we do see a little bit of Superman action here and there in this episode, but it's charming to me. It's charming. It's just like Clark runs off and then we cut to the newspaper. You know what I mean? We don't cut right away, but it's just like, oh, well, we just can use our imagination about how Superman saving the kids went down.
And I think that's really clever because we do see in this episode just a little the glimpses that we do get later on of him doing Superman-esque things. I love that it's, again, for me, I'm going to set this up now because I'm going to get back to this a little later on with Mxy. A big thing with Superman with me is that I love a lot of people. Remember before Man of Steel came out, where when people were still really mad at Superman Returns, when they're all going, "Why doesn't Superman punch anything like he did in Superman 2? Why doesn't he punch anyone?"
Yeah.
Let me tell you this. See,
well,
here's
Man of Steel turned that on its head.
But again, let's keep the Man of Steel bashing.
You fuckers want Superman punching people? Oh, we'll give you more than Superman punching people.
All right, but seriously,
I'm sorry.
I always direct people to the first Superman movie. My favorite Superman movie, the 78 Richard Donner version. I mean, he doesn't punch anything. It's like done wrong. I mean, he'll be bombarded by people might try to shoot him or something. Like again, he'll punch like the ground to kind of stop the volcano, stop the earthquake.
Sure.
Again, he does great super feats. I'm all for the super feats and kind of Superman just being. Again, just like Superman kind of being Superman, he stops the criminal by just kind of staring him down when he's climbing up the building. Superman doesn't have to punch anyone, but he can still do he has to do super feats, which this version of Superman does do. Like he stops some stuff later on, and again, that's all you need. Just the super feats. But the best Superman is one who doesn't have to use his fist. That's an effective heroic Superman. Anyway,
I do think Bryan Singer, he obviously was going for the Richard Donner version. So, anyways.
Yeah, but you see what I mean? I think you don't need action in a Superman thing. You just need him like doing some cool things, but you don't need him just to have a fight to make him interesting.
I hear you.
Max Lannis is like killing it in the American Alien, even though there is great action in that.
I know. I need to get that.
Don't get me wrong, there is great action in that, but I mean, just some of the best stuff Superman not fighting. Okay, let's see. So this point is again, Clark's off. We know how it's going to go. It's going to go great. But again, I love this that Lois is kind of focused on the magic. Again, I love she's taking on this optimistic thing. It's not like her going about the day. Well, I'm going to shrug it off. No, she's actually listening. She's taking it to heart. She wants that. Okay, I'm going to stay optimistic here. Okay, focus on the magic. And she kind of said the trigger line there because then we see Mxy-Mas.
Oh, God. And let's just give it up for Howie Mandell because, again, he's just like we just talked about Gilbert Gottfried to Santa, but this is also just such a fun guest star.
Yeah, and this is going to be an insane comparison, I know, and believe me, just take it with a grain of salt, folks. I'm serious, though. In some ways, it is kind of it's kind of a Heath Ledger Joker mixed with kind of an out there. It's like the menace of a Heath Ledger Joker, but played with a very non-threatening character.
My head just exploded when you said Heath Ledger Joker.
I'm serious.
I'm sorry.
He has this kind of this menace and this attitude, very much like he is. It's Howie Mandel in his own way.
No, I did not read any menace into this. I'm sorry. I just thought he was a lot of fun.
I'm saying he is a lot of fun. I'm saying in a similar vein that he has like kind of this really kind of a quirky performance. He's coming up. He doesn't seem that. Well, we'll get into it when we get into it. So I'll see if I can maybe show you a little later. Anyway. So let's see. So Mxy-Mas. So let's see. So
You know that moment when you just burst through the interdimensional vortex? Oh, brain freeze.
Yeah, so he appears next to the charity Santa, and he's got we see he has a little tracking device, which again reads very much like a boom tube, even though they didn't intend it to be that way. That might be a little Superman reference. I don't know if that was intentional or not.
Mm-hmm.
Probably not. The point is, he has a little tracking device. He's following Superman. And he's, man, the guy zooms off like that. There's a barking dog. He turns the dog into a toy dog. And again, remember, we don't see these things get set back to normal. Remember that, folks. With the exception of his last little plan, the people he makes disappear and turn into other objects, they don't turn back.
And speaking of which, I think the Santa that's, we have the little charity Santa. Yeah. I think he's weirdly like not responding too much. He's just kind of like, hey. Yeah. Did you catch that? He's just kind of like saying hey in the background, like he's acknowledging Mxy's, but he's not like really doing anything. Yeah. I know, that made me laugh. I'm sorry.
And anyway, we got really cheesy 90s effects when he makes people disappear, turn another.
Of course, it's glorious.
Yeah. Yeah, but seriously, I do want to give Howie Mandell credit here, because I still read as somewhat of a menace that he's so happy-go-lucky while he's doing kind of these. Again, they're not like gory or terrifying. I'm just saying it's like the implications. I think.
I mean, yeah, I guess I see what you're saying, especially later on, like when he has his conversations with Clark.
I think his plan. I think his plans and his implications are very sinister. But
I get you.
I'm saying it's in a charismatic, entertaining way, like Heath Ledger's Joker. But it's like, again, it's very light stuff he's doing when you read the implications. So that's where it's dark.
Okay.
More on that, I guess, later, but that point moving forward. So it turns the dog into a little toy, which leads to concern, and then we get our intro, and now we're back. So there's a new wimp in town. We get the cheesy effects circa 1997. Now we get our intro, which were more cheesy 90s effects. Anyway, so
it's great. It's great. Okay. Like this show, it's so 90s, but I think it's really endearing because it's so 90s. Yeah. Okay, it's like a time capsule piece.
So Lois and Clark, they're walking to the building. They're mentioning that, his parents are flying in around 7. Clark feels, and this is great. This is a Superman. Right off the bat, the show kind of had me like, man, this is interesting. It said, Clark feels bad. A Superman that feels bad for after the fact. He saved all the kids, which is very important. You always save the kids first. But still, the burning building kind of ruined their Christmas. He's feeling like, could I have done better?
And that's kind of like, that's something you don't really think about with the whole cliche, like saving people from the burning building. Is like, those people are going to be fucking homeless now. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's like Superman again. Don't wrong. Superman. Superman's not at fault here. Say the people that totally.
No, absolutely not. Of course, he's not at fault.
Yeah, that's all he should have done. Everything's fine there. But the fact, it's like, Superman. It's like you don't really see all that often. It's like, he's kind of lingering on the fact of, oh man, those guys are really still.
What about that burning building from the first Spider-Man movie? Huh? All those people are out on the street now. Okay.
Anyway,
or the second Spider-Man movie. Was there a burning building in Spider-Man 3?
I mean, Harry's apartment blew up, but I don't think it's.
Oh God. Okay.
Well, no, just the goblin there blew up, and he's rich, so I think he's fine.
I think he's fine. Yeah.
Well, not by the end of Spider-Man 3, but he's fine-ish.
Well, by the end of Spider-Man 3, he's up in heaven just eating all the pie that he can desire. Just because that's Harry's heaven, is just pie. Anyways.
Okay, so the idea. Okay, so Clark's feeling bad for the kids from the burning building, which, by the way, was set off by Christmas tree lights. How horribly ironic.
Right.
These kids lost their gifts in the fire. And again, the idea of Superman holding the thing of Superman saves kids from burning building and then kind of feeling bad about it. It's interesting. And the fact they're also probably going to be split up for the holidays because they were in some sort of foster home or orphanage or something. That's
sure. Yeah.
Even worse. These kids literally have no place to go, and even if they had like any sort of camaraderie around the holidays, even like now they're going to be split in other homes. So kind of supply not supply and demands, right? It's poor. You know what I
mean? Poor choice of words, Dragon.
No, but seriously, like the whole the ratio of like adults to children they'll have to split them up.
Mm-hmm.
So Clark's mulling on that. He also mentions that he felt like he was being watched while he was saving them.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have Mxy reveal. He's like, again, just menacingly standing on top of like it's like it's a menace, but it's also a little silly too. So he's standing right out in the open, but no one's paying him any mind. He's like right there watching him, right on top of the Daily Planet logo. So let's see. So then they're getting in the elevator. Remember this, folks. It's basically our Groundhog Day setup is starting now.
This is our Sonny and Cher.
So, Sonny and Cher.
Yeah, Sonny and Cher is the cue for Groundhog's Day whenever anything starts over.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Darn it. Okay. Okay, let's see. So they're in the elevator having a little conversation. Basically, have no worries about. You don't have to have any worries about being late, because Superman can fly anywhere, essentially.
Right.
Because after a little conversation, pretty much when they get out of the elevator, that's when everything is going to be start to take notes, folks. What's normal right now? So we see the Daily Planet's having a Christmas party. So hey, office Christmas party.
And then we meet my favorite character in this whole thing. Wow.
Wait, his name was Ralph. I just called him Drunk Guy.
No, his name is Ralph. I caught his name. His name's Ralph. I love you guys the most. Hey, Beth Ann, I love you the most.
Oh, God.
He's great.
So, we get a happy drunk reading here, and then we have Perry White, who was really good in this show, by the way. From what I have seen, I do really love the actor.
This is seriously one of the best Perry White storylines I've ever seen. Like, I've not seen a ton of Perry White stories, but I really love his character arc in this episode.
You gotta remember, in many ways, Perry White is. Many people have always there's really been a scene in the comics where Jim Gordon and Perry White have shared scenes here and kind of comment on, oh yeah, we are kind of the main supporting character to our heroes.
right.
Yeah, but seriously, it's Emil Hamilton and Perry White are basically they're Superman's Jim Gordons. They are. It's one's kind of they're distinctly different. There's a Jim Gordon for Clark Kent, there's a Jim Gordon for Superman. That's what those two guys represent.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, but yeah, Perry White's always been Perry White's always a good character. Even Lawrence Fishburne, Man Still plays him excellently. He's always good.
I have no problem with Lawrence Fishburne. I just think that character in the Band of Steel movies is underwritten, but I digress.
Well, he just has a cameo in Man of Steel, in Batman v Superman anyway.
Pretty much. And it's a funny cameo too, but it's just
no one cares about Clark Kent taking on the Batman.
anyways.
Okay, let's see. So,
have you seen the Ultimate Edition?
I have not yet. It has not come out on DVD, unfortunately. Just they teased me with the digital thing, which I refuse to take part in. But
oh, jeez. Okay.
Anyway, so we're at the Daily playing Christmas party. Perry White, he's happy with some good news, and basically he's happy with the good news that's on the TV, saying, hey, peace talks are going down, everything's going great. Basically peace talks are about to close, and Superman has these cutesy lines going to come back later saying, hey, peace on Earth, anything can happen.
Mm-hmm.
Just going to come back to bite him later on. Say it gives him a bottle of scotch or something. I don't know what it was. You recognize what the bottle of? I don't know if it's.
Oh God, I don't know. It's an eel bottle. It gives you mighty eel strength.
So Lois turns in her story, and again, folks, take notes. These things are going to come back. Lois turns in her story. Sure, it's going to be good. Nice is a nice big old tree. I love the tree runner, by the way. So you can see a huge. The
tree runner gets so absurd the more and more pitiful it gets.
And let's just say for our next Christmas special, remember the tree gags. It's going to come back in our next Christmas special. So we got a big, huge tree, and the idea is Perry White, and this is you're right, Tiki. This is a really excellent storyline for Perry White. It's so subtly sad, and throughout it gets a little more comedically sad, but there is a great sincere sadness at the beginning of this. Perry White. He's got a nice big tree sprung for it out of his own pocket because he's alone for the holidays. Because his kids were grown up now. I believe he has two sons. Given the picture we see later on, he's got two sons. One they're probably grown up for the holidays. I don't know how old they are. I know one I think has kids maybe. Point is, his sons are grown up. He's alone for the holidays. They can't make the visit him on Christmas, so he's just kind of alone. And the only thing really he has to look forward to is being invited to Lois and Clark's Christmas party. Because again, he's kind of like the. I believe he gave her away at the wedding, so he's a big figure in Lois and Clark's life. So of course he would be. He's the chief. He's the editor. They're real chummy of Perry White over Peter Parker and J. Jonah Jameson. See, J. Jonah Jameson was. Essentially, J. Jonah Jameson had the same role in Spider-Man's wedding, only he was trying to show up the Kingpin by saying, "Hey, I'm gonna throw Peter Parker the best wedding ever."
Oh, that's great.
And I'll remind you, that was the Ed Asner J. Jonah Jameson, by the way.
Oh, that's great. That's great. Okay.
It's hilarious, but let's talk about that some other time. Anyway.
Actually, I did not know that Ed Asner was J. Jonah Jameson in the
And-
90s Spider-Man.
Oh yes, and he was great too. And
That actually,
idea of the King.
I need to check out some 90s Spider-Man now.
The King, yeah, he's a great J. Jonah Jameson all the way through. He's fantastic. Yeah, just the idea, that the Kingpin and J. Jonah Jameson would compete with each other over throwing Peter Parker the best wedding ever.
Right. Okay.
Anyway, so yeah, back to this. So again, poor Perry White's looking for the Holly's place, looking forward to being invited to dinner at Clark and Lois's place. Then we have the surprise of the Kents are here. The Kents! They're supposed to be coming around 7. It's not 7.
Oh, God.
Thanks to an early flight, they got there. And by the way, give us a little flag here, Tiki. Oddly enough, just a complete coincidence, Ma Kent, she's wearing the American flag on her shirt. So
nice.
Completely tied into what we were thinking.
By the way, Dragon, Martha.
Yes, Tiki Martha. So, moving on.
Where did you get that name? I'm sorry, I got to. I get one, okay? I get one. Go ahead.
Anyway, so again, the Kents are here early, got an early flight. Jimmy asked if his hard luck. Essentially, he finagles a way to ask if his hard luck.
Hold on, we have portly Jonathan Kent, kind of like, we have a very portly Jonathan Kent, and then Martha's reminding him of his cholesterol. I think that's a fun runner.
Well, it's also a thing. It's always with Jonathan. He always has a bad heart. That's the idea.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Because eventually, in versions where he does die, it is unfortunate of a heart attack. So,
not in Man of Steel.
I said most.
Not in Man of Steel.
All right.
Oh boy. Oh fucking boy.
It's a holiday. Keep it civil.
Okay.
Anyway, so Jimmy finagles a way to ask if his hard luck girlfriend can. Again, when we say hard luck, at this point, hard luck is just like she didn't. It's not relating to college.
No, it was the fact that her parents are on the other side of the country, so she's kind of alone on Christmas.
So again, that's a hard look at the beginning here. That's her main.
Right, exactly.
Like Perry White, she's alone for the holidays, and she wants to know if she can go to dinner with Jimmy Olsen. That's her main struggle of this. And sorry, the girlfriend.
Oh, God. This episode is just so well written. It's like everything pays off so well.
It's so sad what happens to this girlfriend.
Right.
Okay, let's see. So basically, he kind of finagles an invitation for her to come with their dinner, which again is stressing out Lois Lane because again now it's like 7 people are going.
She's she's kind of counting, like taking a running counter of like 7. That's 7 people to dinner now.
And I gotta tell you though, I love this domestic Lois Lane. Again, you rarely see this with Lois Lane. She's trying. She's so endearing that she just wants to have a nice Christmas. She wants to just be her and Clark, and believe me, she wants to have her friends over and all that stuff. But again, it's like her first time kind of playing domestic host, really.
Mm-hmm.
And it's around Christmas, the most stressful of holidays. So again, you understand absolutely why she's kind of on edge, and you emphasize that. Oh, poor Lois.
Oh yeah.
So again, 7 people at Christmas dinner in the new place. It's the new place, so you also got to make it look nice so people don't cast their own aspersions. It's even worse.
Right.
And we see Ma Kent in her patriotic sweater. Okay, so Clark's asking a very logical question. Hey guys, you didn't have to buy a ticket to fly. I mean,
I don't know. I think that would be a little bit harrowing for Jonathan Kent, though. What do you think?
I'm saying a flame at night and just like flying slow.
I guess.
Or he takes on to knock himself out, then he just flies him anywhere.
Right.
Basically the Santa Claus 3 approach. Anyway, so let's see. So I was asking what they should let me fly, guys, and they assure Clark that everything's fine. Also, there's like a concern about money because the winter probably frosted the crop, so you don't have money might be a little tight with the Kents, and they said, oh, look, the bank usually covers up. The bank usually covers us when it's really a nice bank. It's small, but they cover us when the crops get frozen. So we'll be fine.
Mm-hmm.
I think the interesting thing is, do you think they're lying with that, or do you think they're telling the truth? Because the way things deteriorate, kind of questions like, is just like conveniently getting bad? Or
no, I think with the way that everything is set up in the episode, I think for right now it's true, and I think as the episode progresses, it just kind of gets like, because like we just pointed out with Jimmy's girlfriend, it's like right now, it's like literally she has like first world problems of like, oh, my parents sent me to go live on the other side of the country. Oh, And now this girl's gonna have real problems later on. So.
And right now with the cancer, just like it's a what if it doesn't go the way it usually does.
Exactly.
And again, like usually it's fine. It's like what if it doesn't go that way? That's the little inkling of like what if something doesn't go the way it usually does. Okay, let's see. So Lois's parents. She mentions, "Oh, Lois, what about your parents? What's going on there?" She says, "Oh, my parents aren't coming. They're going to a bed and breakfast. So again, they're not supposed to be there. Going to a bed.
I'm not even supposed to be here today."
It's now a question: is that Yoko's reference or a Clark's reference?
Oh, Clerks.
I know. Well, now we can be in both now.
Oh God. Okay.
Anyway, so Harley Quinn Smith aside. Okay, so basically mentions, oh, they're at bed and breakfast and ... Mom?
Don't say a word. I don't want to talk about it. Maybe in a few years when the wounds have scarred over.
I love that her mother is so much like Lois Lane, more like classic Lois Lane, dude. Just kind of like the high strung kind of like, she just kind of takes over wherever she goes. Lois Lane, so you can see a lot where Lois got her qualities from, but before she's kind of been domesticated now.
Oh yeah.
And obviously, this is even more stressful to Lois, and not only is it more stressful, it's more people, which means 8 for Christmas dinner.
8 for dinner.
Yep, and we're gonna need. I just love Teri Hatcher the way she says we're gonna need more stuffing. Just like poor Lois, it's that's her main Norma Bates moment in this episode. Just it's like the sad, like it's so sad. Poor Lois can't win.
Oh God. Okay, so we have Mxy-Mas going on. He's at a bar and he's going on about how great fifth dimensional beer is.
Yep, and I guess Lois just chatting up the bartender.
Or no, he's not. He's going on about how awful everything in the fifth dimension is, and he's like, "Oh man, this beer is so much better than anything you have in the fifth dimension."
Because remember, he's the third dimension. That's why he's living it up in the third dimension here. So I guess the bartender, everyone's just assuming, okay, these guys had a little too many. He's just chatting zero thing, and the bartender has to lend kind of a friendly ear and hear him out. I love how polite this bartender is, hearing him out and all this stuff. This is insane what he's saying here. So
my parents live in Jersey.
I love that he's just floating, by the way. Just floating.
Yeah. I think that's a legitimately pretty decent effect.
It is.
Pretty decent.
Let's see, it's basically, he's on a fifth dimensional beer and busting through the interdimensional vortex and how hard that is, and basically gives a little bit of backstory here. We get this, again, it's a good kind of crux of Mxy we get here, that, he's Mxy, and this is very much on the money. This is they might be like a smidge of an alteration, but it's on the money. Like the rules of Mxy are in this thing. You have to say the name backwards, and he comes from the fifth dimension, all that stuff, and he's an imp. That's pretty much all of it. It's all
right. Right.
So Mxy mentions, he used to visit here all the time. He pulls pranks. That's what he does. That's the thing with him and Superman. He's not a bad guy with Superman. He's like Superman's #1 fan. He wants to test him. And basically, there's a character called Batman. It's the same deal. This is Superman's version. Batmite was the Batman version of Mxy. Yeah, like
you have not seen Dragon Ball Z Battle of Gods yet, have you?
No.
This kind of really reminds me of the villain in that movie, where it's like it's not like he's against Goku. It's more that he wants to challenge Goku and mess with Goku more than anything else.
Basically, that's what these fifth dimensional imps do. And again, just Mxy. And if you ever watch Batman Brave and the Bold, Batmite is the same thing as Mxy Spill. There's a fifth dimensional imps that are huge fans of their heroes and just like to mess with them. Gotcha. Only difference, I guess, Mxy is more like he wants to kind of defeat Superman, but in comedic fashion. Batmite is like he wants to be Batman's new sidekick almost. He says, "My hero can beat anyone."
Oh God, that sounds like Syndrome.
It's like he says, "Oh, I basically can snap his fingers and put Batman against any antagonist," but surely Batman does not like that.
Right.
So let's see. Anyway, so Mxy was like he used to visit the third dimension. He used to kind of pull pranks and everyone have his fun until eventually he was tricked by someone, and again saying his name backwards, which we'll see later on. He gets sent back to the fifth dimension, and he says, "Not anymore. That's not happening anymore." Again, this is more menacing. This is the most menacing Mxy Spillick I've ever seen, honestly.
Okay.
Because Mxy's usually kind of the happy-go-lucky, like, "Oh, I'm gonna," like, again, he's like when the Gilbert Gottfried mix, he's like, "I'm gonna get that Superman." He's all,
how?
It's usually he's a cartoon character. Again, honestly, I've never seen kind of a live action. I haven't seen the Smallville Mxy Spillick. This is the first kind of like.
Okay.
This is like the most menacing Mxy-Mas I've seen, because there's been another one in live action from Superboy I have seen. He's more fun, more cartoony. Like he pretended to be Clark the Dateline, and that was about it.
Mm-hmm.
But let's see. So he's not anymore. He wants to become the absolute ruler of everything. He gets him some funny looks, and the bartender's just hearing him. I said, "Well, that's a tall order." And he says, "Well, who's the one three-dimensional biped who can stop me? Well, it'd be Superman."
Mm-hmm.
And what are you going to do? Well, Superman is a symbol of hope, and this is one of the most Joker-like scenes. This is what I'm talking about. Tiki. It's like the most kind of Heath Ledger-like scene, just him saying, what you do with hope. It's kind of his speech about the Harvey Dent speech, a little bit from The Dark Knight,
Right, I get you.
Vaguely. Again, I'm not saying he's exact. Again, I'm saying vaguely, like a very less threatening, but in a similar kind of delivery.
Uh-huh.
He is a symbol of hope. And I think Mandell's a great performance on his part. You rarely see him get to do this sort of stuff. Superman is a symbol of hope. You take it away, what do you have? Symbol of nothing. No power. No tomorrow means no hope. And again, Superman's other name is the Man of Tomorrow, which I think is really clever. I never really thought of it. No tomorrow, no hope. No, there are some logistical logic issues of that later on, but we'll get there.
I'm just trying my best to not make a Man of fucking Steel reference right now. So
seriously, again, we're going to praise hope, okay? Let's not squash the other use of that.
Oh, God, I'm trying, man. I'm fucking trying.
Which Mxy says is easy as a snap of his fingers, which leads to a disappearing bartender. That poor bartender, I mean, we don't ever see him reappear, so I'm assuming
he doesn't even, turn into anything. He just disappears, right?
Yeah, we don't know.
Again, if you want to get technical, maybe he turns into snow, which is just going to melt, so impending death.
No, I just think he just disappears.
Okay,
let's see. So, Lois is hiding in the conference room. She's trying to, she's taking a break from all the holiday stuff. She's trying to embrace the magic like Clark, but again, she just can't see it through his eyes quite yet. She's basically she's trying to see the magic like Clark does, but it's rough. It's really rough for her right now, which understandably. And I love this scene is great. Sorry, that was a little about this scene.
Well, she has a good line like, well, maybe I'll feel the magic more in January when all the pictures come back. Oh, there go the fireworks. Okay. But I'm sorry.
But it's such an adult conversation. It's like kind of it's kind of a Kim Lux or Jimmy McGill scene for this show, essentially. It's not not the same, not to the same caliber. But I'm saying it's in the same vein. It's a really adult conversation. No kind of tropes or anything. Like, oh, well, he felt this way. No, I felt that way. It's none of that stupid stuff. It's all it's Clark having a very adult thing. We're saying, "No, Lois, look, I didn't mean the pressure. I didn't mean to pressure you, Lois. I mean, I forgot not everyone sees the world like me." Again, it's a very adult realization in one scene. It's really nice.
Mm-hmm.
That's really well written. Him calling himself, you know what, Lois, you're right. Lois, I was wrong. I didn't mean to pressure you into that, but I completely get where you're feeling that. Not everyone can see the magic, but it's a way to go.
Right.
Yeah, seriously, it's a really well-written scene. Then they're about to kiss. It's interrupted by not sleigh bells, but bank alarms.
Oh yeah, I can think of only one other person who works on Christmas Eve.
That's Batman,
and it's Gilbert Gottfried.
I was thinking more Batman, but yes, Gilbert. Okay, so
meanwhile, on the Universal Studios backlot.
Oh, I think you're right on that one.
I'm pretty sure I am, because I've been on that studio tour a couple times.
So we're at the bank, and I love the payoff to this in particular. So Superman foils again. We don't see this. We just see kind of the tail end of this. He just kind of basically he holds up the car.
Right.
Bank robbers.
And then I have in my notes he attacks the guy with a jump cut.
See, this is what I'm talking about. This is all you need with Superman. Just him doing a super feat to stop a bad guy.
Oh, totally. No, I dig it, man. I'm totally into it.
He just holds the back of the car up. The guy's full. What's he gonna do? It's like my favorite thing from the George Reeves Superman Tiki is the simplest thing. I loved it when when the bad guys would come at him, he just hold him up like a child or something, and they couldn't do anything because they held him up like they were an infant or something. And they maybe hit him on the head. But what are they gonna do?
We should talk about the George Reeves "I Love Lucy" episode at some point, but that's a whole different story.
Sure. Anyway, so Superman 4's getaway. Mxy takes note. At first, I thought it was like writing a book of reality, but no, it's just kind of writing a day plan. I guess it's just I don't know. It's him taking notes. It's kind of random. But anyway, so the point is, Mixie's watching him, and Superman feels like he's being watched. He's like turning around. I don't know.
If you hear fireworks in the background, I apologize. There's nothing I can do about it.
Okay. Anyway, so Superman saves a falling man. A rich guy saves a falling man who's offering. After he saves this guy, he's really gracious. Says, "Oh, let me offer you a reward. I mean, please. You know who I am? I'm the richest man in Metropolis." You know
now, this guy, like, he sours his notes super quick. Like, I feel like this guy, like, the next time we see him, he's a prick. What do you think about that? Because I feel like for most other people, it's more of a gradual transition, but for this guy, it's kind of just like, I don't know. What do you think?
Well, let me say this. I think the biggest fault I have with this whole special is that there's inconsistencies with the magic. There are.
Okay.
And with that, we don't know the exact parameters, like what gets changed as things change. Because I think this is better if it's this, Tiki. I think it's again, right now it just seems like, okay, guy fell off and Superman saying is really nice about it. But I think it's interesting if they go the route of what it suggests later on, is that he was happy-go-lucky, but he was really masking the pain that is expressed later on. Like, he was trying to kill himself in that scene, but we didn't know it then.
Gotcha. Okay, I like that.
And he was covering it up. I think that's the way they're going. And again, it suggests that, well, you do have, again, but it's inconsistent because we have, like, it's being stretched to the extreme of Jimmy's girlfriend, and basically this and the old man jumped, the rich guy and the Kents would be consistent if that were the case, like they're masking stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, and Perry White also. Perry White is like, he does deep down feel what he does in the very last kind of time jump thing. But we'll get there. Anyway, so the point is, I do love this. I will say this though, I did kind of call the end result because I just thought, why didn't Superman just ask for this right now? Because I mean, he says, "Oh, is there anything I can do?" You know, if I were Superman, it's like a very minor pet peeve because it does eventually come to pass, and it's what I expected though. I just thought Superman would have called him on it instantly, saying, "Oh, Superman, let me offer you a reward, please." And the richest man, no, your gratitude is enough. I'm saying, no, Superman, asking, well, look, you want to do something really nice? Why don't you, these kids just, there was a big fire, it kind of took away their home and their gifts. Why don't you help those kids out? Yeah. As a personal favor to Superman, your pal Superman. What do you say? But I love this, though. I love Superman saying, well, your gratitude's enough. Importantly, his gratitude's enough, because later on, Superman has a hilarious line where it's, we'll get there anyway. So Mxy appears with Clark in the elevators. He's heading back. It's around 4 o'clock right now. Mxy's holding a giant clock.
I love this. I love just the physical comedy of it.
Oh yeah. So again, I get that. This is where Howie Mandell is really earning major points here.
Mm-hmm.
So he appears.
I thought we should do the formal intro thing. And you know what? I am seeing the Heath Ledger a little bit. I am seeing it now that you mention it.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, it's. Again, the stakes aren't as much, but I think the intention is just as menacing.
Yeah. It's
like, when it sinks into what he's actually saying to him, is like, man, that's really dark. It's really horrifying. It's a really good plan Mxy has, actually.
Mm-hmm.
Whether it's kind of doable with kind of the parameters he sets it up, I mean, it's great. It's a great plan, though. So the point is, Mxy appears with Clark in the elevator. He's got that big clock. Clark pieces it together right that he's from out of town. That he's not from around here. He has powers.
We're not in Kansas anymore.
We have the hand fake out, which I wonder if that's because of Howie Mandell's obsessive compulsive disorder. Or not.
It might be.
I wonder, because he doesn't touch anyone. In the whole thing, I kept track of that. He did not touch anyone.
I mean, look, I'm totally not making fun of that in any way. It's totally a fine quirk for anyone to have.
I get it. I was questioning if he had it at this point. That was my only question. If he was remember the host of Double Dare 2000, or was it Double Dare?
Double Dare, yeah.
He had the same affliction. He could do a lot. He fought his OCD during those big time.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, so point is, a little fake out there. Turns the clock back to earlier, but earlier in the day. But things are really off. We're about to see the Groundhog's Day effect.
Oh, here we go. Cue the Sonny and Cher.
So we hear peace talks are off, and
I really love you guys the most.
Yep. Then we hear that peace talks are off. We see Perry Perry's a little too laid back, or like a little too ambivalent.
Yeah, hold on, I love this. I love this. It's like Clark gives Perry a bottle of wine, and Perry's response is fucking priceless. He's just like, "Thanks, man. Thanks, man."
Yeah, he's so kind of like laid back and just so ambivalent. He just doesn't care, you know.
Oh,
just you know, we see the tree's gotten smaller. At first, I thought it was crazy. Like, oh my god, did the tree just get smaller?
Right.
Like, was I just imagining a grandiose tree? And
I actually, you know what? I actually think that's kind of intentional. This episode kind of messes with your mind a little bit. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because at first I was thinking, wait a minute, did I just misread?
No, I hear you. I had the exact same kind of thing. Yeah.
And again, I think it's doing a great job of getting us in Clark's headspace in that regard. Like at first, it's like things are seeming a little similar.
And I was even kind of wondering, like, wait a minute, I thought that peace talks were on. Now they're saying peace talks are off. What's going on here? You know.
So basically, at first I think things are a little weird, but then
Ralph is pretty much exactly the same though. He's just like, I really love you guys.
Remember, he gets more drunk during the thing.
That's true. I guess the only thing with Ralph is like he's probably a little bit more tipsy.
Yeah. And again, here I like that from the get-go you can kind of piece together what's going on here, which I don't know if it's points against it or not because you kind of get it. But what are you supposed to? What else are you supposed to interpret? It's like you're waiting for Clark to catch on, which he does at the end of this first one, right?
Mm-hmm.
The point is like
he catches on pretty quick, yeah.
Yeah, the point is the idea is it's getting more cynical. The world again. That's what I'm saying to you. It's like getting more in Lois's headspace at the beginning of the special. I really think it's clever. So. So basically, everyone's kind of seeing the Christmas as really commercial, really kind of like, oh, what's the use? You know. So basically, seeing everyone's getting more cynical and more ambivalent around him. No one's like Lois is really down on herself, saying, "Nah, no one's going to read this story anyway." But right now, she's being a little passive. But no one's going to read this story anyway.
That's very sad because it's like she's so confident when she gives it to Perry the first time, and Perry even has that line. He's like, "Oh, well, Clark, your wife may be a lot of things, but confident might be at the top of the list," or something like that.
And then here, I'm sorry, I screwed that quote. It's basically Perry White says like, "Oh, well, no, yeah, thanks, Lois. No one's going to read it anyway. It doesn't really matter." Oh, which is more sad. We're going to see Lois get more down herself as the thing progresses. So Clark knows certain details, but the attitudes are off. As he's kind of realizing, as he kind of stopping people before they kind of say the thing they're going to say next.
Right.
Like he tells his parents, like, "Wait, you guys flew in here? Did you get an early flight?" Yeah, how do you know? That sort of thing. Okay, let's see. So the attitudes are also the Kents aren't hopeful anymore. It's like says, well, we got no crops, the banks suck, and they're probably.
I mean, they're not like outwardly like depressed or like
There was like really negative on it. It's like it's not going to work out. Yes, it's not going to work out.
I mean, they're doing their best at this point, but they're not like trying to mask the fact that things are a little messed up.
It's pretty sad. They're saying like cholesterol's all I have now.
Oh God. Right.
So then Clark and Lois have a little chat. Lois's mom enters, craving nog.
Nog.
So Clark heads off to the conference room, asking again because he knows Lois is going to be in the conference room. So he beat her to the punch. He was just kind of questioning. Clark is kind of taking charge. He's no dummy. He's kind of knows like certain things are happening now. He's slowly getting it together now. Yeah, that's so then he's heading Lois off here, and he's asking like, "Do you get a sense of deja vu? Like, we've done this before? Like, I'm swearing we've done this before." And here's the bank alarm. Lois is a little ambivalent here because at first I was really dreading. Here's what I was dreading, Tiki.
Okay.
I was dreading that somehow Mxy was going to go back in time and stop him from being Superman somehow.
Oh, and God.
I was going to have big problems with that because that wouldn't make any sense, right?
Right. Yeah, I hear you.
Well, I'm sorry. Not that he's not Superman. I mean, basically that he and Lois, like Lois doesn't know he's Superman. I was worried about that.
Oh, okay. Oh,
sorry,
that would be annoying as hell, man.
That's what I meant. I was really going to have problems with like, the whole show. Oh, wait. So
you know how fast into the show she finds out?
I want to say it's. I know she knows in the third season. It's probably she learns at some point. I guess in the second season, but I can't verify. I know third season. Like in the first season, she doesn't know. I know that much.
Oh, I can't imagine them stretching that out for a whole season.
Oh, yeah, and that's them meeting for the first time, getting to know each other. You have to do their legs in the first one. It's probably fine.
All right.
Point is, like, onward, I don't know how that goes onward. So, point is, that was my big fear. Thankfully, it did not go in that direction. Like, she knows him. She just doesn't know what he's explaining. That's the main thing. So, Let's see. So Lois is pretty ambivalent. It's like the world doesn't even care anymore. It's very it's cynical and joyless, and we see this when Clark goes off to the bank alarm and he stops the robber, and the robber is just so joyless and just saying it's a matter of time before.
right.
Basically, I love he's not gloating or anything. He's just saying, "Well, Superman, what's the point? What's going to get out anyway? Why even catch me?"
It's just like going back to jail is kind of just like a minor inconvenience.
Yes, and I just love seeing Superman so dumbfounded by this. And then the cops are coming by saying, "Oh, thanks, Superman. But it's going to be the same thing anyway." It's like even the cops are in the same headspace as the robber. That's hilarious. So again, this world is like the whole world doesn't care. It's just very ambivalent now. So let's see. So then he saves the falling rich guy again, who was just Superman. He's just trying to cut him off what he's about to say. And again, interestingly, he's not all about to offer a reward. He's like, offer you a reward. Just passes all these judgments on Superman now. This
is such a dick move, man. It so is.
And again, you gotta admit, it does kind of read that way, like him asking about a reward. Like a guy does, like Superman's now asking me for money around the holidays. He's a panhandler.
But Superman specifically said no reward is necessary.
I'll give you that. You're right. I'm just saying, from the rich guy's point of view, it's like everyone wants to buy me. He's like, no, he's trying to finagle a reward out of me.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I think the rich guy's thinking.
No, I understand. I understand what he's thinking. It's just he's overly harsh.
Right. Let's see. I think my favorite parts in this is only one second. I was trying to read this. Okay. Saves fallen rich guy. Refusing the reward. Why would I give you a reward after the fact? And then one of my favorite Superman bits is where he says, thank you would be nice. Again, because remember he said earlier on, he says, your gratitude is not. You didn't give him any gratitude.
Exactly.
I just love the way Dean Cain as Superman just says, like, but a thank you would be nice. It's so genuine.
Okay, so cue the Sonny and Cher music. He goes into the elevator, and we're starting over again.
Yeah, 4:00 every time.
I really love you guys the most.
Is he a sad drunk yet, or is that later?
I think it's getting to the he's still loving. He's still loving. I think he's just more intoxicated.
So now you definitely see at this point, it's definitely the Groundhog Day effect. It is repeating itself constantly.
Yeah, but unlike Groundhog Day, it's like there are these clever changes here and there, which I think kind of makes this, because it would be easy to just say this is a Groundhog's Day ripoff, but I really don't think it is, because I think they do a clever enough subversion of it where the whole idea of like as the day goes on and on and on, people get more. Because it'd be interesting to see a Groundhog's Day with that kind of a plot. You know what I mean?
The difference, the only scary implication of Groundhog's Day is like years and years go by in his life that we don't know. Like it could be years, could be. Basically, we don't know how much time has passed with the reoccurring days, and also he actually might. Basically, the idea of Bill Murray might be like hundreds of years old by this point, perhaps.
Right.
Which is kind of a scary implication. But here, you're right, though. It's like the idea that as the day goes on, as the time loop keeps repeating, things are getting more and more depressing to the point where it will destroy itself.
Mm-hmm.
So there is literally a ticking clock with this weird reversing clock.
Oh, yes.
Anyway, so let's see. So Clark, right off the bat, again, I love this. This is what I'm talking about. I love an intelligent Superman. I love a clever Superman. One that's kind of like trying to come up with solutions to the situation. Okay, he instantly tries to explain the time loop to Lois. She says she trusts him. She doesn't quite get it.
That's what the holidays are, Clark. It's just a loop. It's an empty ritual.
Yeah. So let's see. Then Mxy freezes her.
The tree is definitely noticeably small at this point. It's not quite like Charlie Brown levels of tree yet, but it's just kind of like a very kind of like rinky-dink, like grocery store parking lot kind of tree.
Yeah, the tree's small, the hopes are diminishing, and Clark's trying to explain things to Lois. She trusts him, she doesn't get it, but then Mxy freezes her to kind of explain things to Clark. What's going on? So he explains the no tomorrow plan, which essentially says, I'm going to get rid of hope. I'm not going back to the fifth dimension.
Yeah, you're right. This is very Joker-esque. I gotta give you fucking credit.
Yeah. And so again, the whole point is
where their hope, because when people don't have hope, they go crazy.
Yeah, so I'm pretty much saying it's like the Harvey Dent speech from The Dark Knight in a way. Right. Saying, I have an ace up my sleeve, and mine's Harvey.
I'm just a dog chasing cars. If I caught one, I wouldn't know what to do with it. All right.
Madness, as you know, it's not like gravity. All it takes is a little push.
Okay.
Anyway, back to this. So Mxy freezes her and he explains in the tomorrow plan. Basically, the whole plan is to wear Superman down, and I love this idea. How do you wear? The plan is to wear down the invulnerable man. That's a clever idea, and that was that's the great thing of Mxy's ability is that he challenges Superman. Superman always beats him by being cleverer than him. And because Superman, anytime usually, then you'll see the Mxy ability if he ever watches it. He punches him, he can't touch. He's fifth dimensional. He's a cartoon character, or he'll disappear on him. So he cannot hurt this guy. He cannot physically stop him. He has to outsmart him.
Right.
Which is very well captured in this. That's how Mxy comes up with a way to stop the invulnerable man. Just wear him down. If he doesn't go insane, then just the world around him will go insane.
Yeah, no, it's a really good plan because, like you said, it's just like, Superman, he's indestructible. So how do you kill an indestructible person?
You don't.
I feel like this show is very much kind of like in that kind of realm of like, oh, Superman is like the all-American, like the world's greatest Boy Scout. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And again, I love this idea.
That Man of Steel just lit a fucking bag of shit on and stomped all over.
All right. But can I talk about something positive? I do love the thematic idea of this episode, where the thematic idea of this is that how do what was I going to say? All right. It's someone saying to Superman, you can't save them. Basically, that's what he's saying. You can't. They're going to destroy themselves. And basically, they're the one thing you can't do. How do you stop Superman? You tell him he can't save anyone. Which the truth is, he can't save everyone. Right. In this case, again, it's not just like the whole thing from the Richard Donner Superman thing. It's the idea that people. This is what people will do to each other without hope. You can't be a simple brother. The day keeps repeating itself. I'm giving you an impossible challenge. They're going to keep destroying themselves, and there's nothing you can do physically to stop that. All your powers, you can't stop this, Superman, which is a really clever idea. Trying to crush Superman's hope as well, take him out of the equation.
Yeah, it's good.
Okay, let's see. So Clark, very horrified. He sees. Okay, this is. Clark, very horrified. He sees the Kents are devoid of all prospects.
I think the Kents are like definitely out of everything. They're probably the most tragic. You know what I mean?
It gets really. There's a really scary part of this episode. Really
yeah.
Because no one would have the Jonathan Kent usually. It's really terrifying. Let's see. So again, we see Clark is horrified to see the Kents is devoid of all prospects. A really sad tree. Apparently Lois's father Sam Lane abandoned Mrs. Lane.
Right.
There's mention of like the tree lot or something. There's what was it, like a Rhodes Scholarship for the girlfriend? Do you remember what was going on with the girlfriend at this point?
I'm trying. Let me see.
Things get progressively worse for the girlfriend as things get more hopeless, and basically her first little problem that gets worse.
I think at this point the girlfriend's just kind of like dressing more slutty, because when we first see the girlfriend, she's she's in this very nice kind of like Norma Bates-esque kind of like outfit. This nice dress, and now it's like I think she's kind of got she's got like kind of the short shorts and everything now.
Well, it's not. I don't think it's there quite yet, but I think
it's not there yet.
It's slowly getting there, but I think that it's like they're making her.
Maybe her hair is a little bit out of sorts, I'm guessing, or something.
Yeah, but again, I think the main idea is first. In addition to that, Tiki, is like she's like they're lowering her class, her intelligence. Like
right.
This. Her parents are overseas, and now she's Now to the point where like her Rhodes Scholarship.
Oh no, I'm sorry. Okay, so she had the scholarship, but then she walked out on it. I think is what it was.
Okay, like she's either
that might be later on, but
no, right now she's either lost the scholarship or it's like she's walked away from one of those.
I think she walked away from the scholarship, and Jimmy's like really disappointed about that. Like,
basically,
so hard to get it.
So the idea is she's making more increasingly poor life decisions as it goes on. Really poor life decisions. Then basically, this is the most horrifying. A horrifying part is like they're toasting. Barry White, I guess, poses a toast. Let's have a toast to collapsing peace talks.
Oh God!
Which is the horror. Dean King gets to play some subtle comedy, and it's just playing a Superman who's like just going crazy at certain points, and it's like,
right.
like what is happening?
It's like the world is just like we suddenly fast forwarded to 2016 and Trump's about to be president.
Yeah, Superman does go a little crazy in this episode. It's pretty funny.
Oh,
So let's see. So now Clark he's doing the monotonous Superman saves at this point. Well, now I'm leaving to save the day.
kind of like Starburst on an off day.
Yep.
I guess I have to go save the day again, guys.
Okay, so now it's the next day again with his grand Hoggian expertise. He avoids previous trappings like the drunk lady again. So like, this is like the part.
Right.
So basically, this is the awesome part of Groundhog's Day where it's not the same thing. It's I get it. It's not the same thing. I was giving an example here of like in Groundhog's Day, there's the awesome bit where Bill Murray now knows the lay of the land, so now he's like in control. Like he counts like when the lady drops her quarters, like 5, 4, 3, and grabs the bag of money.
Yeah.
That sort of thing. So now Clark is like he shifts Lois to the side when the drunk's about to hug him. He hugs nothing. And like then we see kind of it's a tree Perry White got from the basement now. So then he whisks Lois away to the conference room. He basically proves it to her. Now he knows, okay, I got to prove to Lois. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to basically Truman Show style. I'm going to tell her everything that's going on. Okay, so this is what's going to happen. This, and this, and basically scheduled programming of the Saturn party. So we see a food tray where Jonathan is now. I love the food. You'll notice the food is getting more junk food like.
It is, yeah, right.
I think it's like candy now on the tray or something.
Yeah.
Like all the subtle details are pretty funny.
This is really well put together. It really is.
So yeah, we see like the food tray come by. Now we see Jimmy's poor girlfriend is like now she's starting to get trashier, but she's not not quite there yet. But she's getting trash. She has like a little her midriff showing, I guess.
Right, yeah.
So let's see. So again, now we get the funny Dean Cain insane Superman's plan, and then this happens. So then again, Clark is asking Lois to research imps and leprechauns and all that. So basically, research fifth-dimensional imps. Mm-hmm. He has a really good sketch of Mxy, by the way.
He does.
That's what I'm loving. I love the little Superman touch. Like, yeah, Superman would be excellent at doing a police sketch.
It's kind of like with The Conjuring 2, the only reason you're interested in The Conjuring 2 is for me again, Patrick Wilson. But Patrick Wilson has this great bit in The Conjuring 2 where, he's a ghost investigator, but he's also a painter. It just shows him painting in his spare time. It's like, oh, that's really nice, Anyways, I'm sorry.
But yeah, it's that he's a really good police sketch artist. It makes sense for Superman.
Right.
Those sketch of Mxy to give her something to work with. Let's see. All right. So then again, really nice that he puts his faith and his confidence in Lois Lane. I love that all that does pay off for Lois. That she'll be immune to the thing.
Mm-hmm.
So the plan is, so now Superman has a plan. I love the idea. So again, Superman, importantly, the reason this really works, this whole premise works, is that Superman is being proactive through this whole thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
He's you always want a proactive Superman. He says he's going to get a jump on the day before 4 p.m. That's the plan. So that's why he's doing that, the whole Mxy plot. Like, she'll find it so I know the next time this happens, I can stop Mxy, I can stop all the stuff from going on. And Superman insisting on and basically Superman's plan with this thing is try to instill hope in the hopeless world right now. Trying to instill hope, what Superman does best. And again,
which is a really fucking clever premise.
Yeah, Superman trying to basically spread Christmas cheer around the holidays in a way.
Right.
Bringing hope to the holidays. That's what he does. So let's see. So we have this great. I love this scene. This is my favorite scene in the whole episode. Again, I love the few gags I mentioned before. This is my absolute favorite scene in this whole thing.
Okay.
I love it when Superman talks to the bank robber before the crime. And it's reveals he just sits down with the guy. Like, in his car, says, "Okay, listen, do not rob that bank." He's like, "What? This feels like such a Max Landis scene. It really does."
I can
Seriously,
see that.
I love Superman coming up because I love Superman talking down the jumpers and all that sort of stuff. I just love him kind of, again, solving things without fighting them. I love that. He just goes up to him and says, "Just do not rob that bank. Listen, whatever you're gonna do, it's not going to help him." Basically,
I've caught you before, and I'm getting tired of it.
Frankly, it's a little play he's being too, but frankly, I'm getting tired of it.
Yeah.
Anyway, so then he reveals he was a security guard. He was fired right around the holidays, and he tells him he hasn't told his wife yet. And then basically, "You think your wife's going to like this? Being married to a criminal even any better?"
Mm-hmm.
So again, Superman's making some logical points to this guy, and he says, "Look, I gotta go right now. We'll talk later." I mean, he crushes his gun.
Or earlier, whatever.
Yes, or earlier, whatever. The Banger's just giving him a look like, what is wrong with this guy? Anyway, so then Superman does again. I love this. All you need is this: just he crushes the gun. That's all you need is him crushing the gun. It worked for George Reeves. It can work now.
Totally.
He crushes the gun just to make sure, and he just tells him, "Do not rob that bank." Like, he's a parent talking to a kid who's dipping into the ice cream. You know, it's like, "Do not do that."
Oh God.
Like Kramer versus Kramer. I'll give you a super spanking, kid.
So then we get back to the Daily Planet, and Pa Kent is just, this is where woe is me is starting to come in with the pen.
Lois is overhearing basically our new status quo here, and what's it going like, Tiki?
Well, like I said, Paul's just, oh, we're ruined, Martha. We're ruined.
We see just the Kents, their marriage is breaking down.
It's just over the top, you know what I mean?
You know, like Jonathan Kent's so whiny, and Martha's like, oh god.
And also one of my favorite gags in the episode, Lois's mother now flirting with Ralph.
Oh, by the way, we should have mentioned this. This is sad. This is actually the fact that Lois's mother, she like Clark
She's
or something.
dipped back into alcoholism at this point.
Yes, Pa Kent offered her like some eggnog, and he says, "Oh no, I'm sober now."
Right.
She's getting more drunk and sad. and then now she's hitting on this sad guy.
Oh God.
And then Perry White's lament. This is hilarious. Perry White lamenting in public with his outlet. Oh, I'm such a bad father. I have my 2 sons, and basically saying, "But I love
this miracle. Only one of them ended up in prison."
Just the idea that things have gotten so terrible. Perry White's children, his sons, and one of his sons is in prison. Just saying, oh, and all because he didn't dress up as Santa one year for Christmas. That's all circling back to 1 year he didn't dress up as Santa Claus, and that's why it happened.
It's something that you gotta do for your boy.
By the way, I don't know if you recognize it. This is the same. This is the main lawyer from My Cousin Vinny. Remember My Cousin Vinny? He was the opposing lawyer.
I've not seen My Cousin Vinny.
Well, that's helpful. Moving on. So,
I'm sorry.
Rich guy. A rich guy is Mr. Caldwell. That's his name. Sorry, Mr. Caldwell. He's very cranky. Superman saved him, but now Superman. I love this scene. Superman. He's always the famous scene. Some of the best scenes in comics. Superman are when he talks to them jumpers. This is great.
Mm-hmm.
We get to find it. We initially we didn't know why the guy was jumping or how he fell, and now we find out. Potentially, if they're going that way. So Superman figures out. I love that he doesn't tell him. I love Superman figures it out. It's a great. Dean Cain plays the realization of Superman really well here. That,
right.
Mr. Caldwell, you're trying. You jumped. Did you jump? Basically, fears that he was trying to kill himself. Are things? Superman. This is so sad, so poignant to me, Tiki. Just Superman saying, "Mr. Caldwell, are things really that bad?"
Mm-hmm.
And do you know how much? Do you know who I am? Do you know how much I make? Do you know how much I'm worth? Nothing. So sad. Cue the
money
Formiga
in the world and no one to share it with.
Cue the Formiga.
So sad.
Yes. Yeah, it's really tragic.
Mm-hmm.
Is it lovely kind of the sadness Superman looks upon this guy with? Like, oh my God, I never knew. No one to love around the holidays, and that's it. It's a very poignant moment. So let's see. So Lois tries to assure.
Jimmy is just like he's at the brink. He's just like, I just don't see any future with this girl. I have to break up with her right now.
So I think at this point now she's I think she's a lot worse than the next one coming up. I think right now like basically she's they don't say hooker, but I think next one they actually call her a hooker.
right.
I forget if it's now or the next one they call her a hooker. Like, Lois has this really hilarious line where she says I don't know if it's now, we might call it later, where she says and like just listing off all the things that are going off and saying, and Jimmy's dating a hooker.
Exactly.
It's out of context. It's hysterical. Jimmy's girlfriend's a hooker now or something. Oh, yeah, so I guess it's here. Like, so Jimmy's dating a hooker. War and violence is at a high. But Clark's still not giving up, and Lois shares that Mxy does date back to the times of imps and leprechauns, which checks out. And oh boy, this is sad. Oh, this is the moment, Tiki. This is the moment that traumatized me. So. So the Kents are splitting up here. These are so let me set this up, Tiki. I love this scene is so perfectly constructed. It really is. This is one of the best.
Picture the most beloved couple in American history, and then like Kermit. Well, we already fucking saw Kermit and Miss Piggy. I'm sorry, that was a bad.
Mickey and Minnie.
Mickey and Minnie. There we go. If Mickey and Minnie
they were never married though.
Yeah, fuck it, whatever.
Okay, anyway, so but
Ross and Rachel after all that bullshit and Friends.
Don't get me started on that. We're gonna rant about that later. Okay, but seriously though, what's so great about this? Okay, so like Clark and Lois, they're finally getting in. It's okay, he's an MP. The Leprechaun errors. Okay, we're getting somewhere. And just the minute, I love that, just suddenly interrupted by the Kents getting into a big argument, just saying, "Oh, Jonathan, you're impossible." And then like Clark saying, "Dad, what's going on?" It says, Clark, we're splitting up. We're getting a divorce or something along those lines. And then the minute that happens, he's been eating this time, and then the stress of like her saying, "I'm leaving your father" or something along those lines. First of all, you see the horrified nature of Clark, and it's about to get worse. When Jonathan Kent then it breaks my heart. He clutches his chest and he falls to the ground. And Clark Kent's like panicking. He's rushing over and then just freezes. Mxy Spillick. That is so. Just the frozen image of Jonathan Kent toppling over in very dire straits. That's terrifying.
No, I hear you.
And I love that sets the stakes for the next time loops. And the next time loop is the big one, because again, that means how does it get worse than that? Death. Jonathan Kent dies, and here's a Heath Ledger-ish moment for Mxy Spillick right here, where he says, "One second. All right," says. So Mxy stops. Superman instantly is kind of threatening Mxy, and it says, "Hey, it's not me. It's nature, and he'd be the first, and he's the first to go."
Right.
That's so. Just him telling again, this Mxy Spillick confronting Superman, the idea, there's some things you can't fight, Superman. Like me, you can't fight me, and you know what? Nature people are going to die around you, and he's the first to go. It happens to be your father. I mean, how horrifying is that notion?
No, you're right. You're really selling me on the Heath Ledger Joker thing. When I first heard it, I was kind of like,
it's amazing.
It's good points.
It's got like some cerebral kind of Joker-esque logic there.
I know. It's weird.
I never would have thought of that. I've never seen this Mxy Spillick. I'm still amazed by it. So let's see. So basically, Mxy offers him a deal. Again, he's very much. Last thing I'll say, hopefully, very much like Joker. He's trying to break Batman. In this case, it's Mxy trying to break Superman, saying, trying to break him of his hopeful thing. You're saying, "Look, I'm going to make you a deal. I'll restore a little hope. They'll end up loving me. They'll make me the ruler anyway of their own accord. I'll end the loop, become their ruler, and in exchange, you leave Earth. There's no room for two gods on this planet anyway." And Superman refuses. Because this is Superman to a T. He refuses because he will find hope in the human spirit. Mxy's just, I love how dumbfounded he is. Again, very much like Heath Ledger Joker. He's like, this guy doesn't give up. It's amazing. He's just so impressed by him at the same time.
Sure.
So it makes it so dumbfounded. Let's see. So let's Oh, then Lois kind of she unfreezes herself and she tells Mxy off, and like amazing, she breaks free.
Yeah, I think this is a really cool device for how people are kind of slowly coming out of it.
Yeah, again, she's the most hopeful out of anyone here because Clark really reached her.
And again, that's kind of a nice kind of throwback to her character. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So let's see.
At the beginning when she's all anyways. Oh, yeah, by the way, we never really nailed down a Scrooge. Is Lois the Scrooge technically?
Let me think. Well, I don't know. Miss Caldwell may be Scrooge. It's between Lois and Caldwell. Caldwell's a surprise Scrooge.
I can see the Caldwell thing. Yeah.
It's like Lois. Lois has an arc, definitely. I don't know. I think like Lois has an arc, but she's right from the beginning she wants to change. So I don't think she's a Scrooge, Tiki.
Okay.
Caldwell's a Scrooge.
There we go. Fair enough.
Because we learned something about him. We know why he's against things.
And he is literally like a grumpy old rich man who wants to embrace the holidays. So.
All right. So let's see. So now basically now we know the stakes because the next go around, Jonathan will die. So they have until 4. They have until 4 to stop that.
Oh yeah.
So next time we have the tree has been so because now it literally
Exactly.
I kid you not, the tree is now a Charlie Brown tree. It's the exact same Charlie Brown tree.
Right.
There's a Christmas trope. We're going to be listing those tropes at the end. We've been we'll list them at the end.
And the newsmaker is just like completely apathetic. Like
he's smoking on
well,
air.
I guess this fucking shit is going on now.
Smoking on air. Now the drunk's sad. This is where he's really sad. Now he's completely sad. Like he doesn't even have any love of Mrs. Lane in his life anymore. It's just he's so devoid of hope. So again, things are at their absolute worst here. Let's see. So Clark quickly catches Lois. He's prepared to catch Lois up to speed, but thankfully she remembers. Again, because the hope really broke through. She was able to kind of fight the control, and now she found out the secret word, so to speak. She found out Mxy-Spillick's his kryptonite, his Achilles heel, which is the Kill Tipsyism solution. I think it is very consistent with the comics. Mix has to say his name backwards.
Right.
He has to say, spell, or write his name backwards. That's the rule.
Okay.
Let's see. So they have 4 hours, or else Podcasts are goner. And just basic things will be really unsalvageable because you don't know if you're going to reverse all these effects. And that's my only gripe. But at the end of this, you don't know how much was really at stake because it seems like you're stuck with the way that we'll get there. Sorry. Let's see. So
this is one of the best timed gags in the episode, I think.
So,
the robber's walking up to the bank, and then he opens the door, and Superman's there. It's just like, whoops, and then just like retreats back. I just love the whoops.
Oh, by the way, do you think it's that the world's so sad with that he couldn't even afford to rent a car for the robbery, or do you think he's just parked around the corner?
I don't know.
But this is not. I love the Superman solution here. It's so uplifting. I love this so much.
Yeah. However, I think that it's like. Are they saying he has experience with bank robberies because he is a bank robber? In which case, you would never fucking get a job that way.
Well, no. The idea is he's a desperate man who was just. This is like his first.
I'm sorry. Like he was a security guard. A security guard. That's how he has experience.
Yeah, he's a security guard.
I thought the implication was like, oh well, you're a fucking bank robber. We need fucking someone who can protect when we're going to be able to rob banks. That's what I thought the logic was. No. This is much more sound. Okay.
This is the guy's first crime. He hasn't committed it yet. That's right. Right now he hasn't committed it yet. So the point is Superman kind of comes out there. His wife and kids are there, and the bank manager, I guess, is there. And basically he's been fired from. I assume it was this bank. Points he's been fired from a bank recently.
I don't think it was this bank because he's getting a new job.
Yeah. Then again, I forget if it's like points. He was a security guard. So whether it's a bank security guard or just a security guard.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
Regardless, so the bank comes out of there, and basically Superman is put in a good word with the representative of the bank. I mean, what's a better recommendation than Superman? And basically he says, he has a job at the bank. I love that he hides the gun from his kids and his wife, so now no one knows. And Superman has done a real nice service to this guy. Really nice. That's the Christmas spirit right there. So you got a guy his job back for Christmas. You got a guy a job for Christmas time.
Totally.
That's really sweet. That's really nice. So let's see. Following that, what we got?
Ken's getting really restless.
Yep, but love again. Lois is now really proactive too. She's taking really preventative measures. She's telling Puck, to relax. She's getting the sauce away from her mother.
Right.
Superman reaches Mr. Caldwell right before. He reaches Mr. Caldwell. Actually gets a smile out of the guy, which is really nice. Tells him Mr. Caldwell, tells him he matters, that sort of thing. And later on, we're going to see what the full payoff of that is. Mm-hmm. We see Lois's meditation gag. Just teaching. I love it. I think it's so hilarious that, yes, if you knew someone was going to die out of a stress related, you would do everything.
Very true.
So, one, you're distracting them from fighting.
Right.
So they're too busy looking like, what is her problem? Secondly, it's like, well, yeah, okay, so he's going to meditate, so hopefully he's going to do something.
And then Jimmy's girlfriend, she's coming out looking like she did in the first scene. She got all made up. Good for her.
Lois fixes Brenda up to make
She's probably still a hooker, but at least she looks nice.
Yep, and she said, "Look, we'll talk about the rest of it later, Brenda."
Oh God.
Because I think in the previous scene or something, like she was in the previous scene when they're behind glass, I guess, just like commenting like, yeah, now Jimmy's girlfriend's a hooker. She was like flirting with another guy, suggesting that she was about to do some stuff.
Okay, I got you.
Anyway, so Lois fixes Brenda up. Oh my God, this is gonna be one of our Christmas July high points right here. This is like one of our big moments. Superman, he visits Perry White. Oh my God! Considering this is like Clark Kent's Jim Gordon, essentially.
No, right.
In this scene, it kind of strikes me the other way around, kind of like a classic Batman Gordon angle in this one scene. But I don't know. Regardless, he appears in Perry White's office, and he mentions that one of Metropolis's top citizens, who we will later be revealed to be Mr. Caldwell. I called that. Has helped these kids. He shows them the whole Superman saves kids from burning building. He says, "Well, what? Are you not happy with the story?" And I love how this scene goes. Tiki. It's so heartwarming. It's like Superman. Perry White's is a little down in the dumps. He's looking at the picture of his kids. And those yours? Superman, what do you want here? It's really nice. It's really quiet. It's
yeah.
He tells him, he's paid for these kids to have a Christmas, have a new. Basically, the money has solved all these kids' problems now, thanks to this guy. And but they need one thing though, and basically, they need one thing, something only you can give them. Superman, basically, Superman telling Perry White, "I need help," and giving Perry White a chance to help Superman, give him a Santa suit.
Right?
How nice is that?
Yeah.
So Lois Lane's starting a round of deck the halls, just have a last desperate hope. Okay, deck is we got everyone together. Everything seems to be good, but we're not hopeful yet. We need something.
I just have in my notes. They're literally defeating evil through the power of song.
Yes.
It's like Powerpuff Girl status.
Yes. So now Christmas cheer is it's Christmas cheer versus the ticking clock, quite literally. So Mxy appears. He's trying to remind the people of the hopelessness of everything going south for him. Like he's telling the mom and pop, like, you're not working. But he's trying to tell him, like,
you have 10 acres of worthless seed.
But it's not working.
Just goes over to Miss Lane. How about a drink?
Yep. And again, Lois gives
to Perry. He's like, your own kids hate you after all these years of neglect. He's like, he's really trying to get into it.
And I love this. Again, this is Mixie's finest moment at the end here. This is great. And I love the way they defeat Mxy. This is so great. And I think, again, this is exactly, Tiki, I tell you, if you watch Mxy Spitlight, this is in the same vein of what Superman does to defeat Mxy Spitlight. It's awesome. Just outsmarting him like this. Just, yeah. Lois gives Perry a big old present, says, for Mxy, can't spell the name. Remember, it's written down.
Right.
This present is for Mxy Spitlight. He says, me? It's just Howie Mandell, the way he plays Mxy, so happy-go-lucky.
Well, yeah, I love that. Yeah, it's like Perry's like, mixing. You mean Mix Big Licks or whatever the name is?
Basically, this is like the something we might talk about, not in this show, but some other show. Basically, like the end of one of the Frosty Snowman specials, where the bad guy gets welcomed in the end. It's like, for me, really? just so.
Also, I will take you that, and I will raise you the beaker scarf moment.
Yes. My God. Yeah. So again, this is the best kind of Christmas hallmark moment of this episode. Really, so it's like how do you defeat a villain with a Christmas gift?
Totally.
So he's so happy-go-lucky. He just says, "Oh, for me," he gets a gift. Well, read the card. I love how friendly Lois Lane's being to him. They know he's such a bad guy. I love the ploy. I love Superman just sitting there like all happy-go-lucky. Like, yeah, I know what's gonna happen here. just Lois going, "Come on, who was your problem?" It's like, so this like,
it's like, "Oh no, I'm sorry. Of course. I've never gotten a present before. I don't know how to do this."
Again, the fact that he never got a present, well, that's so adorable. But again, this is the most viewer-friendly guess that Teri Hatcher gets in this episode. He says, "Come on, read the card." And then he opens it up and it says, "Who's it from? Kill Tipsyism." Huh. And then he realizes, oh no, he's been undone. The card play, it works. He disappears because he said his own name backwards. Magic, again, this is my only gripe with the episode, really. It's that it's unclear about what quite gets undone here, because now there's hope restored in the world, so things have been...
Well, that's how I took it. I took it as like the time loop is over, and now it's... I mean, you're kind of right. There is kind of some pressing issues on hand. I don't know. Maybe the fact, like, maybe your first interpretation of like everything is kind of underneath the surface, like, Ma and Pa can't really are in kind of dire financial straits, but they're just kind of masking it.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Because this suggests that, because the fact that it doesn't just go back to one more time to everything being the way it was.
Right. I hear ya.
The fact that things are just like Perry White still in the Santa suit, and then apparently Sam, like, the rationale is like, oh, he was just delayed because he went to the bed and breakfast. Then he realized, okay, she was surprisingly heading here.
God.
Which suggests that everything actually did happen, but now has a more positive outlook. So, I mean, basically, so Jimmy's girlfriend's not a hooker, but she's, because she now looks the same thanks to Lois.
All right, so we get this really, really nice moment with Lois and Clark to end out the episode on.
So, White Christmas is playing. White Christmas.
Yes, I fucking love White Christmas. It's not the Bing Crosby version, which is the best. The Bing Crosby version, for people who don't know, that is the best recording of a Christmas song ever. But I digress.
Robert Millet version is also really good,
but it's not the Bing Crosby version.
I'm just saying it's really good.
Okay.
It's really good.
It's really cool.
Yeah. So,
okay, but
this is sweet. There's the Christmas memento, and it's like Lois.
I feel it. It's happening. It's magic. Right this second, I feel like I can feel everything through your eyes. This is just a fucking, like, god damn it.
I can see everything through your eyes.
I can see everything through your eyes, right? Clark is just such a charmer right here. He's such a freaking charmer.
Nice.
He's like, well, you've got the best view of all because I'm looking right at you.
Aw.
I just have it written down in my notes. Here's looking at you, kid.
And they kiss, and that's the end. Oh my god, so beautiful.
Okay. So, my God, this is a fucking good one, man. Final thoughts.
Yeah, again, folks, this one really got me into the Christmas spirit this season because we've had a rough start this season. And
no thanks to me.
Yeah. But seriously, this one, I was amazed by how well written this was again, because this show again can be kind of wonky at times with like how they prolong these things. Again, I won't tell you how they stretch things in season 3 from what I've read. I won't tell you. But again, seriously, I mean, Howie Mandell, he blew. As I was a little trepidatious, like I wonder how Howie Mandell's gonna be. I love the image. The only image I've seen of this episode, like kind of like a screenshot, like a thumbnail, is how I. Basically, whenever I look at like kind of Wikipedia page for Mxy-Mas, like they had the one image of Mxy holding the giant clock.
Right.
And that's the only thing I had, and that looks kind of cool. I wonder how they're going to pull that off. And they pulled it off greatly. I mean, Mxy had some grit and menace behind it, which is something I've never seen with them. I love there were so many great kind of heartwarming moments in this special. Again, I get to really experience I want to say all the good elements of the show are in this episode. The dynamic between Clark and Lois, which is kind of a hallmark of the show, which if that's not working, then the whole show's kind of for naught.
The Superman ensemble is the ensemble of the show, which worked out really well.
Certainly. Again, there are all those characters are exactly from the comics, Tiki. I mean, none of them
of course,
made up. Let's see. Again, I love the
drunk guy, even Ralph.
Okay, except the drunk guy.
Poor Ralph.
I'm saying all of our main characters are actually main characters. And
totally.
Superboy had to create a few characters because they needed a Jimmy Olsen-like character, so they kind of came up.
This is like the sensical version of Gotham.
Well, that makes a lot more cohesive sense. I'll give you that.
That's what I'm saying. It's the sensical version of Gotham.
Anyway, but again, like my things, the last thing I gotta say, were the big stand-up for me on this one that really got me in the spirit. That again, the big moments where Superman's just kind of doing these super feats, like these super Christmas miracles almost, where he's just kind of, he's talking people down, he's getting to know the problem. Again, Superman solving problems without his fist. That's what I really loved about this. As a Christmas special, it's all about Superman bringing hope in hopeless times, and that's a feel-good feeling. That's the feeling you want around the holidays, and it works perfectly for us. Because, Christmas in July, again, this special feels like Christmas is definitely a set piece, and it's important. It's kind of the reason why you could have a story like this at a certain point in time, but it's a message that can be at any point in time, which even in July would still hold up.
Yeah, this is honestly, like, out of any of the Christmas specials we've reviewed, this is one of the most well put together, I've got to say. Like, this, this might be the oh shit, what was the one that we did last year? I'm having a brain fart here.
Lou Grant?
Yeah, Lou Grant. This might be the Lou Grant. I'm sorry. This might be the Lou Grant of this year. Like, I was coming into this, I was excited about doing this, but only for just the pure, like, novelty cheeseball factor of, like, oh, we're doing Superman, but we're not doing a classic version of Superman. But you know what? This episode got me, man. It's really well put together. There's so much to admire about this. Like, you know, like you said, the lead characters, they have a really good chemistry with each other. Just seeing all the different Superman characters bouncing off each other. Howie Mandell, obviously, really, really good guest star. From what I hear, really faithful to the comics, which is cool. And then just the time loop plot, man. I'm really impressed with how they did the time loop plot, how it's not a ripoff of Groundhog's Day. That's what I want to give it credit for, because when it first started happening, I was like, oh god, this is Groundhog's Day. But it's definitely taking certain elements from that, but they're twisting it just enough that it totally feels like its own story. And you know, like Groundhog's Day, like this is like a 4 hours instead of 24 hours. But yeah, but I digress. There's a lot of cool things in here, a lot of good stuff. You know, just really, really solidly written, just really good morals. Like you said, yeah, it's like, it doesn't necessarily like not feel like a Christmas episode, but it feels like the type of thing where you could watch it any time of the year and not be overwhelmed by like, it's Christmas everywhere. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, just overall,
it's like it's thematically about Christmas, but it's about the themes of Christmas versus being about Christmas itself, which is
absolutely.
Great. So they talk about this big Christmas dinner, and it doesn't go there at all. It's like this.
No, I was surprised that we never got to the Christmas dinner, because in the first 10 minutes they make such a big deal out of it.
Yeah.
Okay, so you want to go through the tropes really quick?
Yeah, sure. Okay, so we got Caldwell is kind of our semi-Scrooge.
Yeah.
Like I almost would say Mxy, but you know, he just gets tricked. He doesn't have a character. He doesn't change at the end. He gets tricked into being happy-go-lucky.
I would say definitely the whole idea of having the Christmas party and stressing over that for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
The office party.
Stress around the holiday.
Yeah, the one jackass who's drunk at the office party.
Yeah, eggnog.
Right, of course.
The orphans around. Orphans are.
Yeah, can't forget about the fucking orphans. Yeah.
Yeah, again, they're like foster kids and or orphans.
Oh, let's see. Some sort of big charitable donation. Well, like you said, that's pretty orphans.
I'm going to say super miracles, or just kind of like, you know, someone kind of our main character pulling off kind of like a good feat to the less fortunate, which is, you know, him helping Caldwell and him helping the bank robber.
Okay.
So kind of like the super Christmas miracle, kind of, you know, the super kind of moral moment of the special, kind of helping out the less fortunate.
Right. I don't know. I'm kind of drawing a blank. I think one of the good things about
Christmas
special
various Christmas trees.
Yes, the Charlie Brown Christmas tree.
Yeah, Charlie Brown Christmas tree being the best of them. Someone dressing up in the Santa suit.
Of course. Thank you. We don't have any Santa Claus, but Perry White makes a good guy dressed as Santa.
Yeah, but I mean, we have magic and we have Superman. That's your, you know, middle of a Santa Claus in there. Let's see. Anything in the last minute here? Again, kind of walking the streets around Christmas time. There are decorations about. You know, it's got it.
Okay.
Oh, White Christmas. So the Christmas music. So we got White Christmas at the end, which is a biggie. And Deck the Halls and caroling and that's it.
All right, so yeah, that's what we do here, Blue Dragon 5. We're here to list off the tropes, kind of examine the tropes, and see how effective they are when it comes to each individual Christmas special.
If only we had some sort of name for this. It baffles me that after 3 seasons, 2 seasons and a few episodes into it, we haven't come up with just the right term that we can end off each episode. We have? What is it?
Oh my god!
What is it?
It's putting the mistletoe underneath the microscope.
Brilliant!
Next time on Christmas in July. Fa la 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 la. I love you guys the most.